Week 1 of the preseason just wrapped up, and I watched just about every game that I could. So I am going to be grading all the rookie QBs from this weekend. I'm going to start from our lowest grade, go to our highest grade. Now, obviously, this is preseason, so these grades are just for what we saw. Obviously, guys like Jaden Daniels and Drake May, they only threw 3 passes, so there's only so much we can do. But with that being said, let's get right into it. As always, if you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like. Let me know in the comments who you think is going to be the best rookie QB from this class. Let's start out with Drake May at a C+, who went 2 for 3, 66.7 adjusted completion percentage, 19 yards, 56.2 PFF passer grade, 2.53 second time to throw, 0% big time throw rate, 0 turnover worthy plays, 0 sacks, and had 0 rushes on the ground. So the biggest thing that I saw from Drake May were that, he completed both of his passes behind the line of scrimmage. One was a shotgun screen pass. The other was a shotgun pass to the flat. And on that pass, it looks like he looked right, saw the tackle got beat, and he got the ball out quick. So that's props to him for recognizing that the play was probably dead. He didn't want to do too much and just got the ball out. When he had that incomplete pass, it was a play action play under center, and it was high to the wide receiver. And it looked like Drake had kind of stared him down, which made it easier for the cornerback to come up and make a play. Overall, these are things that can be taught. And I think, with the plays that were strictly passes, they were done out of shotgun. And I do think that the Patriots will probably run a decent amount out of shotgun when it is going to be a pass play, due to the fact that there are question marks on the line, and you don't want to put Drake May under unnecessary pressure, where if you're under center, you got to do the drop back, or, I don't know if there's going to be a ton of play action where Drake May is going to have to turn his back to the defense, going to have to read the defense while also addressing the situation up front, just because New England does not have the greatest offensive line there. Honestly, this is too limited to give him really that much of a grade. I give him a C+ because, getting that ball out quick on that flat and dumping the ball off in the screen pass, he both accomplished those plays. He didn't run it all. He didn't really put the ball in harm's way. I think the incompletion was a little high, but accuracy can be worked on. He is a very young quarterback, very raw. In my opinion, you have to give him all the preseason snaps you can. Get Bailey Zappi out of there. Nothing against Bailey Zappi, but he's taking reps away from Joe Milton and Drake May. Jacoby Brissett doesn't necessarily need the snaps. And at the end of the day, what I think could go well, or what could work, is if you don't want to throw Drake May in too early and Jacoby Brissett goes down, or you don't want to play Jacoby Brissett, let Joe Milton take the snaps. Let Drake May develop. Too early to put him in. Overall, I think it wasn't a bad game by Drake May. It was very limited. Hopefully we see him more in week 2. Going into our next quarterback, we have Jaden Daniels. Okay, I have him at a B, and he went 2 for 3, 66.7 adjusted completion percentage, 45 yards, 80.1 PFF passer grade, 1.97 seconds time to throw, 33.3 big time throw rate, which is crazy, but he only threw 3 passes, 0 turnover worthy plays, 0 sacks, 1 rush for 3 yards, and a rushing touchdown. So, first throw, high pass, dump off to the running back. I am not going to nitpick at all. It's his first NFL snap, and I'm going to chalk it up to nerves, right? Anyone can miss that pass. You got to make them. At the end of the day, it was his first pass. I'm not going to hold it against him. Next throw, amazing deep ball right into the breadbasket of De'Ami Brown on 3rd and 6. He was very decisive. I think he saw De'Ami had a step on the receiver and just let it go. He put the ball only where Brown could get it. He grabbed it. Was a great play. The next catch, or next completion, I should say, was a swing pass to Terry. It could have been placed a little bit better for more yak, but I think that's nitpicking. He got the ball. He got it out quick, got it to Terry, executed the play. I think it was good by Jaden Daniels. On the touchdown, we had a read option. he ran it in, and it was just too easy. I think, one of the biggest threats about Jaden Daniels, regardless about how you feel about him as a passer, even though he showed that he had a great deep ball this game, in the one pass that we saw, he's extremely quick. And this is definitely going to be part of the plays is designated runs for Jaden Daniels, the read option, especially on the goal line. I think you're going to see a ton of rushing work from Jaden Daniels. The main thing with him is, can he stay healthy? He put himself in harm's way a lot in college with his runs, and you just hope that he can be smart about his body coming into the NFL. Again, too limited to give a great grade, but it was very nice what I saw from him. So I'm just going to go with a B. I think he showed more than Drake May did. And I think C is the baseline. C is average. So with that being said, I think he did a little bit better than average in the limited play that we did see from him. So definitely interested to see what happens going forward. Next, let's go into JJ McCarthy. He was 11 for 17, 66.7 adjusted completion percentage, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interceptions, 84.0 PFF passer grade, 3.03 time to throw. So a little bit more on the lengthier side, not the longest out of the rookies though. 5.9 big time throw percentage, 1 turnover worthy play, 0 sacks, 2 rushes for 18 yards. So on the first play, I saw some good navigation of the pocket to start the drive. It was good to see him move around and try to make a throw. But the next snap, and this became, I don't want to say a theme, but I saw it a couple times, and it's not necessarily concerning. I just think it's something that JJ has to figure out. So he's under pressure, and he's on the run, and he throws the ball behind the receiver. And I saw it a couple times where JJ was under pressure on the run, tried to make a throw, and it just was not on target. And in some of those instances, you almost want to just see him throw the ball out of bounds because he wasn't accurate on those throws and he could put the ball in harm's way. So he's kind of inaccurate when he's on the run and under pressure. So I just think he should, something he's got to learn from. He's a very young player. That is okay. Next throw, he is under pressure and he lobs the ball up to his receiver. I don't want to say lobs, but it was kind of like there wasn't a ton of zip on it, and the defender's able to come up and make an interception and make a play on the ball. So that is kind of what I'm talking about. Is I saw multiple times in this game where JJ McCarthy was under pressure and he scrambles, runs around, and then throws an inaccurate pass. And that is the result of what I was just talking about. So play action. There's another throw where there's play action. He stays in the pocket. He gets drilled, but he makes the completion. And that's one of the strengths of JJ McCarthy is his toughness. Like, he's willing to stand in the pocket and make a play. And I will say, because he is a more mobile quarterback, props to him for staying in the pocket and making throws instead of always just using his legs to run out. And I think that is one of the biggest things that I think Minnesota Vikings fans can be excited for is after watching a statue of Kirk Cousins the last couple years, having a guy who can make throws on the run, whether they're accurate or not all the time. I mean, that's going to take time. I think that was my main thing with JJ is when he's standing still and he's on platform, he can make some great throws, like really good throws. But when he's on the run, you see the inaccuracy. But on the other side of that, when I believe it was 3rd and 5, the pocket is collapsing. He spins out, runs for a first down. That's not something you were getting with Kirk. And that, I think, is such a staple in the modern NFL. Being able to have a quarterback who can scramble, who can go get that first down with their legs, because in my opinion, secondary play is getting a lot better because of the repetition. Like we see with wide receivers, like wide receiver rooms are a lot more talented because players are just better now. So you have to add that level of dynamics to your quarterback room. Quarterbacks who can run and throw the ball, who stay in the pocket, make the throw, but also scramble from first, are so valuable. If your quarterback is legs first, that's where I think you have a problem. I think mobility is almost becoming something you have to have in the modern NFL. I will say both deep balls that JJ McCarthy threw were very, very nice. They were right on the money, and I think it is something that I don't want to say is underrated, but I don't think people are like, oh, JJ's deep ball is crazy. Like, they were both real nice balls. Short game could get the ball out a touch faster is my last point. I'm kind of nitpicking here, though, because there was a couple times where the receiver's running a curl, they're running a hitch, and he throws the ball. It's a second late, and the defender is able to swat it out. I think he's just got to be a little bit more decisive. But again, JJ is a super young player, and that will come in time. So I had a B for JJ McCarthy. Moving to Bo Nix, I also had a B. I think, I don't think it was necessarily a B+. I do think snap for snap, I think Bo Nix played a better game than JJ McCarthy. I had a B for Bo Nix as well. 15 for 21, 76.2 adjusted completion percentage, 125 yards, 1 touchdown, 67.6 PFF passer grade, 2.87 time to throw, 4.3 big time throw rate, 0 turnover worthy plays, 0 sacks, 3 rushes for 17 yards. That was something I will say for all the rookie quarterbacks. None of them took a sack, which is really impressive. So, first throw, went through his reads, slowly finds a receiver. He's a little late and it's almost picked off. I don't know if the guy would have got it, but at the end of the day, he still put it in harm's way. He was a little frantic to begin the game, but he was mobile in the pocket, which is really nice. I think a lot of these guys, some guys were a little bit more nervous than others, you could tell. Bo Nix seemed a little bit more nervous than others, but I think that came and went as the game went. I think the nerves kind of wore off as the game went, but like I said, it's the first NFL game for these guys, and you did see it kind of wear off on him, but you could tell in some of the throws and the way he was moving around the pocket that he was a little bit nervous. So he had a really nice deep ball to Reynolds, which I actually think would have been a touchdown if the wide receiver didn't let it go through his hands. I think it was actually a really, really good throw by Bo Nix. And something to go along with that is Nix, his mobility is going to be very nice, like I was just talking about with JJ, when you need to scramble for a first down. And I think, all you're going to hear is the Bo Nix to Drew Brees comparisons and, Sean Payton, and you're connecting these guys. I will say the one thing about Nix that makes him, gives him maybe an upper leg, he is more athletic and more mobile than Brees. He can get out there. He can outrun guys. He can go and get that first down. And I think, that is an added element to this offense that maybe they didn't have before, or Saints didn't really have before. And you saw that with the implementation of Taysom Hill. And I don't want to say that they're going to use Bo Nix in a Taysom Hill role. It's not what I'm saying at all. But, you may get a little bit more designed runs. I believe, let me find my note here. Yeah, so they actually had a read option where Nix scrambled and got a first down. And I think that's something you may see, especially in the first couple years with Nix. So he does get the ball out quickly on designated quick game, right? Like the touchdown where he pulled it and threw it to Marvin Mims, that was a good, quick pass. He was decisive. He knew exactly what he was doing. And he made some very, very good off-platform throws in this game. I do think he moved around a little bit more than he needed to in the pocket this game, which it's not concerning to me. I think that can be taught. I just think that goes back to the nervousness and franticness a little bit at the beginning. I think he did move around a little bit too much, but it's nice to see that he can navigate the pocket and extend plays when needed. So most pass plays were run directly out of shotgun. And my main thing is that I had an issue with Bo Nix in this game, because he did play a lot of the game, is on slower developing plays. I do feel like he could have thrown with a little bit more of anticipation. That was one of the things that I don't want to say had an issue with, but I just felt like if he threw with a little bit more anticipation, got the ball out a little bit quicker, you would see a little bit better rhythm in the offense with the way that the receivers were catching the ball a little bit early, so they may be able to go get more run after catch or anything like that. I just think on the slower developing plays, he held the ball like one hitch too slow, and it slowed down the play a little bit. But like I said, that's nitpicking that can be, cured with time. And I think, just kind of my closing point here is I think Bo Nix can be a pretty good quarterback in the NFL. I think once this team has a little bit more talent at the wide receiver position, at the running back position, I don't think the running back room is horrible. But once you get a little bit more talent on offense, I think Bo Nix can be a very, very good player for the Denver Broncos. And, I was listening to PFF, rip their podcast pretty soon, but they were talking about, someone sent an email about, there's the game managers and the game changers and, quarterbacks you win with and win because of, but someone sent an email about machine and magician. And I think Bo Nix, if you want to look at it, like, he can run the offense, right? But with his mobility, I think he can be a little bit of a magician where he's extending those plays and making plays happen. I think he has a really good mix of that. And I think him being, I don't want to call him a game manager because he won't be a game manager, but he's going to have that nice mix of he can run the offense efficiently, but also make the plays when he needs to. Not comparing to Brock Purdy, but I think that's what Brock Purdy does. He's more a run the offense efficiently, but he is able to roll out and create plays with his legs when needed. All right, getting into the end here, we have Michael Penix Jr. next with a B+. He was 9 for 16, 56.3 adjusted completion percentage, 104 yards, 62.6 PFF passer grade, 2.14 time to throw, 6.3 BTT, big time throw, 0 turnover worthy plays, 0 sacks, 0 rushes. Okay. His willingness to go deep was awesome. I think they dialed up like 3 or 4 deep shots on the 16 attempts. Now, I will say, I feel like a lot of the deep shots were dialed up and they were predetermined. So because when you watch the play, he'd get the ball and then he didn't really need to read, like go through his reads. He just saw the guy and threw it. And that's not bad. That's not a bad thing. It's just, it shows their confidence in his deep ball and the willingness to move the ball downfield quickly. And regardless on short game, medium game, deep game, like I was just talking about, he gets the ball out quick. And one of the things that I noticed and was so prevalent when watching him was he looked so calm and poised in the pocket. Now, obviously, he's been in college for quite a while. So, you could say, well, he has the experience, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. But when I talk about like the most nonchalant quarterback out of these rookies in the backfield, he just looks so calm and so poised, almost to a point where I was like, all right, maybe put a little bit more energy in there. But it wasn't a bad thing. It was kind of funny to watch and it was cool to see. But I will say he does need to work on his timing and accuracy a little bit with his receivers, but that'll come in time. I think he had one deep ball right at the start that was missed, and I actually don't think that was his fault. I think the wide receiver actually let up a little bit, and that's why the catch wasn't completed. But overall, I thought it was a good throw. And, I guess kind of with the poise, he already does look pro ready. And I think sitting behind Kirk is only going to strengthen that. And I think he'll be a pretty good quarterback when it's his time to play. What I did notice, what they were doing a lot with him, and obviously this is vanilla, so they're not going to show, a lot of what they're going to do in the regular season. But most of the plays they ran with him and pass plays were just out of shotgun, and they were just quick 3-step drops, and they'd be hitch routes, comebacks, all that, and Penix would just deliver it. Like, get it out quick. He'd take what the defense would give him, and they were just moving the ball downfield. So I really liked what I saw out of Penix because it was very methodical, like 1, 2, there's my guy. 1, 2, there's my guy. 1, 2, there's my guy. So it was very encouraging to see. And then also with the under center, they did under center twice. It was for 2 play actions, and they had one where it was the goal line fade that was missed. But overall, I think because Penix is not the most mobile guy, obviously running him out of shotgun is probably going to be a play unless you're going to do play action, because even with the play action plays, they weren't rollouts really. They weren't boots or anything. It was just a play action straight drop. So, nothing too mobile with Michael Penix. Moving into our last quarterback, I have Caleb Williams with an A-. He was 4 for 7. 71.4 adjusted completion percentage, 95 yards, 69.3 PFF passer grade, 3.56 seconds in the time to throw, which is the highest of all rookies. And this is something that was an issue with him in college. Now, was it a drastic issue? No, not in the same way. It would be like a traditional running. I don't want to say traditional, but like a more of a run heavy quarterback. But it is still something that will probably need to be addressed. He had 11.1% big time throw percentage, 0 turnover worthy plays, which I don't agree with. I think he did have one that I'll talk about. 0 sacks, 1 rush for 13 yards. So his first pass attempt was a holding penalty, but Caleb scrambled out of the pocket. He peeks behind him while he's running to make sure there's no one behind him. And while he does that, he extends the ball out in front of him, right? Which, that's to prevent a strip sack. That's very smart. You could tell he's processing the game at a high level and knows to do all those things. And he doesn't, it's not like, it was like robotic. Not in a bad way, but in a way of like, okay, scrambling out, I need to check and prevent this from happening if this was going to happen, right? So that was very cool to see. 3rd and 12. Caleb goes through all his reads, stands tall in the pocket, delivers a strike to DJ Moore for the first down, and you could see him going through the reads. 1, 2, 3. And I know this was refreshing for Bears fans because Justin didn't stay in the pocket that long. And usually if it's a long play and nothing opens up right away, he's running for the first down. This is what third down and long is supposed to look like. He waited, found his guy. DJ Moore got open. It was a strike. Next play, we're going to talk about the flip screen to DeAndre Swift. He's about to be tackled, and then he shows his playmaking ability by just flipping the ball. Wasn't a no-look. He saw him, but it's still good to see a guy make those plays because, you know, a lot of quarterbacks are getting stuck, muddied up in the pocket and are not making that throw. They'll probably just throw it at the ground. 3rd and 6 from their own goal line. This is the issue that I had with the turnover-worthy play. I'm getting all of my words today. Caleb threw a risky ball underneath to Odunze, and Odunze was pretty covered by the corner who undercut him and easily could have had a pick and could have turned into a pick 6 if he had stayed on his feet. And it would have gave Buffalo a great field position. And that's one of the biggest things with the NFL. And actually a reason why the Bears drafted the punter is field position determines, you know, if you go into like EPA and everything like that, like how many points are going to be added. And if they would have gave that up, the Bills probably would have scored because I think they would have been at maybe like the 10 or something like that. But it ended up being a defensive pass interference. And you could argue, I'm not going to argue that. You could argue that Caleb knew that he was getting, like, Rome was getting grabbed on, like pulled on, and knew it would be a PI, so he threw the ball anyway. I still think it was a bad throw, and that could have put the Bears in a really bad position, so don't love it. But when you see the other plays he made, when he was rolling out, right, and he throws on the run to Cole Kmet, that was probably one of the best throws I've ever seen from a Bears quarterback, and I know this is preseason. And there was another thing in that play where he pump faked the defender to freeze them and then threw the ball cross-body to Cole Kmet for the first, which was amazing. Most pass plays were out of shotgun. They used a lot of play-action rollouts. That's definitely a strength. And those were done under center, obviously, for the most part. And then I will say, just my last point, I want to talk about the overthrow to Odunze in the end zone. So the ball was uncatchable. Let me just say that. Let's get that out of the way. That was a miscommunication, in my opinion, just from watching the play and listening to a couple of podcasts between Odunze and Nasimba Webster, because Webster was going up towards the front pylon, okay? And Odunze went towards kind of the front pylon, and Caleb threw it to the back pylon, so I think this is Rome's fault, because if Odunze is going to the front pylon and Webster's going to the front pylon, they're just going to collide. If Odunze would have went to the back pylon, that would have been a touchdown if the ball was catchable. So I think that's just something that needs to be worked out. I think the reason I have Caleb 1 is I think he did everything you needed him to do, right? And he also made 2 special plays. The other quarterbacks, they made some really good plays. I don't know if I saw like special. I thought Penix facilitated the ball and played the best out of all the other quarterbacks. And then I think Bo Nix had a nice day. I think McCarthy's stats are the best, obviously, with the 2 touchdowns, 188 yards. I also think he played a lot, and I think there was a lot of things that need to be worked out. There was some rough-looking plays where the ball was just not where it needed to be. And then I do think Jaden Daniels, if you would have played more, I probably would have had him at like an A minus. Or, I mean, if you would have kept the game going the way he did, definitely an A. Drake May just, there really wasn't much to do. And then just last thing on Caleb before I wrap the video up is the ability to be able to scramble for the first down when you need it and go and get it and slide and keep your body safe is definitely awesome. The Bears have seen what, rushing quarterbacks can do for them to get them the first down, everything like that. But to be able to, deliver passes in the pocket and then just only scramble when you need is awesome. So honestly, I think this group of rookies have been really impressive in week 1. I don't think there was necessarily there was really no head shaking moments where you're just like, what are you doing? And it felt like they all got better throughout the game, which was really impressive. And I know it's preseason week 1, and I know these are not necessarily the top units they're going against, but I was not expecting them to play all this well, and they all played pretty well. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm excited for week 2. If you don't know ball, want to know ball, be sure to subscribe, leave a like. Let me know in the comments who you thought had their best performance in week 1. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you for watching.